So I've been out here in the front garden working today, trying to get a little bit done. I have been clearing out some things that needed clearing out, and watering and fertilizing and all that general garden stuff. The sunflowers, you know, I tend to leave sunflowers up a little bit longer than many people do, unless I'm wanting to save the seeds out of them. If I'm wanting to save the seeds, I'll cut a head or 2 or 3 off right away and dry them and save them. But if it's a variety that I've got tons of seeds of, or you know, I don't need them, then I do tend to leave the plants up beyond them looking pretty. And the reason I do that is a few weeks ago I was on the front porch filming a video, and I spotted some yellow finches while I was out there, and I think it was the first ones I had seen of the season. Well, yellow finches love sunflower seeds. They also love any type of thistly sort of seed, like echinacea and stuff like that. But they really love the sunflowers. So I pulled the one out, which was actually the first one that had flowered, and so it was long gone. There weren't any seeds left in it anyway. So I pulled it out to make some space and make it a little bit easier to walk around the corner of that garden bed. And then I just kind of trimmed off some of the lower leaves off of the one next to it. I haven't gotten to the third one yet. I needed to get the garden watered, because these raised beds out here, I hand water them. I don't have a drip line system or anything, and it's hot, it's dry. Even though we've had a lot of storms coming through, we've had like thunder and lightning and all that stuff, we haven't actually gotten a lot of rain to go with it. So the beds were pretty dry, so I needed to get them watered. So everything's watered, everything's been fertilized with some organic fertilizer, just some all-purpose fertilizer, good for pretty much everything. And yeah, tying up what needed to be tied. And so that reminds me, I don't think I ever shared what it was we planted down there at the far end of the garden, well, this garden area. So last year, or maybe the year before, I planted some goji berries, and they were like, the plants were like yay big, and eventually they're supposed to be like 10-foot shrubs. Well, I had planted them and then something ate them. I mean, they were doing good, they were growing a little bit, and then they were like gone. I think a rabbit had gotten in here and eaten them. And so I put some little fence rings around them to kind of protect them and try to give them a chance to recover. I don't know if they're going to. I mean, one of them looks like it's trying. It actually had one little goji berry on there with its like 5 leaves, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know. I keep watering it, and I keep it protected, and maybe it'll come back. I don't know. But about a month or so ago, I planted something else out there. And I say I, but it was we. My older son was in town visiting for a few days. He comes whenever we have a long weekend. And he came out and started helping with the planting, and we planted 4 elderberries. They are ones that I had ordered from Stark Brothers, and Mr. Smith is coming up the driveway, so the dogs will probably start barking in a second. But we planted 4, and they're 2 different varieties. I got 2 different kinds because I didn't know which one would do better, and I thought it would be good to have 2 different kinds for pollination purposes. So I have 2 of the York type and 2 of the, I think they were called Johns, and they're doing great. We've got new growth on all 4 of them, and they seem to be doing well. And I had some questions also about what it was that I put around the bottom of those. They're called tree rings, and they look like red mulch, but they're fake. I don't know how well they work or don't work. I picked them up at my local Lowe's for like $9 or something like that. I thought we would just give them a try and see what we think of them. So far, so good. I mean, they're keeping down the grasses and everything, so, you know, and the water goes right through them, so we'll see. Now, we do actually have wild elderberries that grow here on the property. The problem is that the deer eat them. And I think it was last spring, I did some cuttings and I was going to grow some of my own, and I put them in a jar and they were rooting, and I was just about to put them in soil when I realized spider mites had gotten all over them and they were crunchy. So I didn't want to try and start them looking like that. I figured I would just take some new cuttings and start over again. But then I went ahead and I ordered some from Stark Brothers. But I do have some space down at that end, and I will probably still start some cuttings. Over here, they're inside the fence. They are protected from the deer, and I know in a lot of areas people have deer get in their gardens even when they're fenced, but I have to tell you, the deer here in our part of the world, they're not very big. I mean, I have never, ever since we've lived here, and ever since we put in the like real fencing, I've never had a deer get in my garden. Never. It's a 4-foot garden fence with a hot wire around the top, and, you know, we've just never had deer get in there. I've seen them, you know, walk by, but they've never gotten in either of the gardens. So I figured putting the elderberries inside the fence will keep the deer, or should keep the deer from eating them. That way I can have some elderberries and not just the deer. So as you can see, I've got some shade here under my metal trellis that I put up here with the loofah gourd plants growing. Someone here in the area back in the springtime when I had started all of those tomato plants had come to get some of my extra plants from me, and she brought me a pot with 4 baby loofah gourds that she had started growing, some seedlings, and so I put them in the beds here. One of them didn't make it, but the other 3 did, and they are ever so slowly filling in this trellis. And I've actually seen, so far I've got 2 loofah gourds growing. It's still a little bit early, so hopefully we'll get a few more, but honestly I'm not too worried about how many I get. I just would like to get some usable loofah gourds this year, and I've talked about that in the past. So in any case, Mr. Smith was just bringing dinner home. He went and picked up some barbecue. So I am going to head into the house for a little bit, and I will check back with y'all in a little while. Well, it's actually been a few hours now since you last saw me. I have been out here in the in-ground garden area, clearing and weeding and harvesting and all of that. You know, sometimes I get a little bit behind on things. Sometimes life happens and I don't do things when I plan to. For instance, there's a thing that I was going to harvest like a week or two ago and I didn't. And I just now got around to doing it. I mean, you can't even see this whole thing. This is the largest of the zucchini rampicante, and it is fully matured and seasoned, and I have no idea what to do with it. My understanding is when they get to this stage that this is much like a butternut squash. We'll see. I've got more over there still growing on the vine. All of the rest of the squash plants were toast. I did end up getting some squash vine borers. Now, I had them last year as well. Last year was actually the first year I had them. I've never had squash vine borers before. But I'm pretty sure I got them later in the season this year than I did last year. Last year it seems like they came pretty early on. I know my zucchini plants didn't last till August last year, and here we are, it's what, the 3rd of August, and I just now cleaned out my zucchini beds because they just, yeah, they're toast. Now, I have been taking note of a few tricks though. As a matter of fact, last night I was watching a couple of videos from that 1870s homestead, and Rachel mentioned another channel that she watches. I didn't catch the name, but they had a trick for preventing squash vine borers by burying the vine. Now, I had never heard of that trick, but I am writing that down in my garden journal and making note of it for next year, and maybe I can give that a try and see if that works. I'm also going to try the athletic tape trick that Rachel was doing this year, because I thought that was pretty nifty. But either way, I have had a very successful squash season, summer squash, and I have tons and tons of zucchini in the freezer. I made, I don't even know how many loaves of that lemon zucchini bread that Mr. Smith was in love with. So either way, it's been a very good year. I'm definitely going to grow my Ford Hook zucchini like I always do. It's still my favorite. I won't grow the Golden Delight one again. I was just unimpressed with those. I only got like, I think 2, maybe 3 usable squash out of 5 plants. So not my thing. I mean, they were pretty zucchini, but just not worth it to me. Now this I might grow again. I don't know if I'll let them get this big. I'll probably just harvest them when they're young, because when they're young you can just cook them like zucchini. But I wanted to let one get really, really big and really, really mature just to see. So, like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I will try and figure it out. At the very least, I can save the seeds. So, I had lots of things that I was going to talk about today in my vlog. But at this point it's getting late and I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, I think. Something's getting me. Now, before I wrap this up, I did have one other thing that I wanted to talk about very quickly. Most of you know, I'm sure, that I am a blogger. I have been a blogger for over a decade. My website, of course, is cosmopolitancornbread.com, which is what this channel used to be named after. But over the past several months, I've been making the transition to changing this channel to A Good Life Farm, which is the name of our homestead. It's what we named it 5 years ago when we moved here. I just felt like that was a better fit for what I do on my channel, and honestly, I wanted to do that at the very beginning. but I just felt this pressure to have everything be the same name, and just I reached the point where I decided it's my channel, I'm gonna do what I want to do. So I went ahead and I changed it. Now, blogging is what I do for a living. That's my day job. That's how I earn my paycheck and everything. Doing YouTube for me is sort of a creative outlet. I love the community that I get to experience by doing this. I love sharing my life with all of you and my ups and downs and successes and failures. It's something that I enjoy, but cosmopolitancornbread.com, like I said, is my day job. And I've had some struggles this week with my website. I had some hosting issues where my whole website was down for most of a day. I had issues the day before. I've had issues today. I don't want to go into all of that, but it's been a wee tad stressful. So getting out here and coming into the garden is just a great way to breathe. Now, because my website is my brand, my business, I have to be mindful about what I put on there, and having content that is search engine friendly and all of that is very, very important for the traffic that comes to my website. And so I had been looking at my analytics, looking at my traffic and my reports and all of that, and I realized that putting my vlogs, my everyday videos like this one, on my website isn't actually very good for my search engine optimization. I was getting very little traffic as far as those particular videos go. And so going forward, I'm not going to be posting my everyday videos on the website. They'll always be here on the channel, of course, but I won't be giving them a dedicated post on cosmopolitancornbread.com, because search engines look at excessive posts like that don't really drive a lot of traffic as bloat, and it's just not good for the searches finding my content. So going forward, I'm not going to have an individual post for these everyday vlog types of videos. Now, of course, if I am doing a cooking video or some sort of tutorial that has printable instructions or anything like that, then of course that will be included in an individual post. But I won't have the separate posts for these everyday videos. Now, there is one page on cosmopolitancornbread.com that is labeled YouTube, and if you click on that, that actually displays every single video that I post on my YouTube channel. So you can still find all of the videos there, but they're all consolidated in one location, unless of course it goes with a recipe or something along those lines. This is just a way for me to streamline my website and make it a little more Google friendly, if you know what I mean. Now, if you're subscribed to my newsletter, you will still get the updates with all of the new content, both on the website and on the YouTube channel. So you're still able to get all of those updates, whether it's a vlog, a cooking video, a recipe, an article. Everything that I do is consolidated into that newsletter, so you won't have to go looking for anything. You can still get all of that delivered to you throughout the week. So you can still stay informed as far as all of the content that I am creating through that email newsletter. It's free. I've talked about it in the past. I've talked about it quite a bit recently just because of all of the social media problems I've been having, and I don't want to rehash all of that. But I just want to make that announcement. So if you are one of the very few handfuls of people that actually have watched my everyday videos on the website, just know that going forward you'll want to come to the YouTube channel, or if you happen to watch me on Rumble, I am now actually uploading my videos onto Rumble. They usually go up a day or two after they do on the YouTube channel, but I have begun posting on Rumble just as a backup, because you never know. So, alright, I am like seriously getting eaten up. So, time to head in and get cleaned up and start researching what to do with this thing. So, thanks for hanging out with me here again today at A Good Life Farm. I will talk to y'all next time.